Earlier this week, we told you that Warner Brothers was up for sale, that Paramount Skydance was in the lead and might just prance away with the thing. Folks, we're to tell you, it's not for sale anymore. It's for auction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to give you the news you need to know. And today, boy, oh boy, do we have breaking news for you. Gary of Nerdrotic is saying this is bad for Hollywood. I don't know about that. But one thing is for sure, it's on the way. It's coming to pass. Warner Brothers looks for certain now going to somebody else besides being owned by themselves. That iconic tower going to power another company. Folks, click the like button, drop a comment, and let's dive into the conversation. We'll tell you what we know, and we know quite a bit at this point. All right, folks, welcome to a fun one. Here we go from Charlie Gasparino out of the New York Post. Breaking, literally, now. Warner Brothers Discovery launches formal auction. Formal auction as it seeks bidding war for media giant. What the sources? Okay, Charlie, thank you. Thank you for your high definition who this is. Sources. Oh, we can't complain here, can we? Warner Brothers Discovery has launched a formal auction of the media giant with bankers at J.P. Morgan and Allen & Company combing through expressions of interest from multiple suitors, including one from Paramount Skydance, the Post has learned. The owner of the Warner Brothers studio, HBO and CNN, held a board meeting Thursday morning with bankers and advisors to discuss the process, sources said. Prospective bidders have been sent non-disclosure agreements required to access Warner Brothers Discovery's financials. That means this is serious. Of particular interest to Warner Brothers is the question of how to deal with the most aggressive of the bidders, Paramount Skydance, the newly created media giant headed by CEO David Ellison, according to people with direct knowledge of the matter. We told you, we've been telling you this for days now, nobody else is close, okay? Nobody else is close. Could somebody else swing in there and get it? Maybe. But Skydance is way in the lead. As reported by the Post, Ellison, the son of Oracle's billionaire co-founder Larry Ellison, has been slowly ramping up pressure on Zaslav to sell. In recent weeks, he has made 3 bids for the company, the last being a $23.50 share, which is $56 billion offer for Warner Brothers, and they're doing so, I believe. Jonas, am I right? Still with cash?
I think the latest that I heard was on bid number 3, 20% of it was in stock.
Wow, so okay. In response, CEO of Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, has rebuffed each offer as he angles for a higher stakes bidding war that could push the sale price well above $25 a share. We've heard here that $27 is likely to be where this thing lands. We'll find out. Zaslav is said to expect another bid shortly from Ellison, possibly a public or hostile bid in the coming days. Now, get ready, because as we read this article, there's another aspect to this that is just, there's something here that you need to know about, and we're here to bring it to you. Meanwhile, as the Post first reported, Ellison, on advice from his legal team and bankers, isn't expected to bid much more beyond $25 a share for Warner Brothers. Okay, much beyond. 27 sounds right. We're nailing this, Jonas. And he believes he's got good reason for staying pat. Boy, this is fun right here. Namely, he believes he's got the backing of the Orange Man. His wager, they love this. His wager is that a combination of regulatory hurdles and personal animus from the commander-in-chief poses major roadblocks for a slew of rival bidders, including Netflix. They say they're out. Amazon and media giant Comcast, which currently owns Trump-hatifying cable network MSNBC, also known as MS Now, and the woke broadcaster NBC. Now, they're spinning off MSNBC, so take that and understand it. MSNBC will largely not be a part of that. And NBC may be getting moderated a little bit. A Comcast spokesman also declined to comment, but people close to the company's CEO, Brian Roberts, tell the Post that Trump could be persuaded to approve the deal, given the Comcast is splitting all its cable properties, such as MSNBC and its financial news network CNBC, into a separate company. Also known as, yes, folks, not only is it ratings that have them kicking MSNBC out, you can shout it out now. Flat out, the reason is they don't want to attach them because it causes them harm with Trump, with the feds. This is a very contentious battle now for Warner Brothers. And I believe that, when you look at these kinds of giant buyouts, Jonas, we'll go back to you because you are an expert in this area. When we go to these kind of giant buyouts, one of the difficulties is getting it approved by the federal government because you got to avoid the monopolistic kind of stuff. And there's a lot of there are many assets here. If Skydance can get this approved in the same way that they did with getting CBS, if they can get this approved by President Trump, and if they've got a direct line to the White House and all of these departments, then they have every bit of the wind at their back. What say you?
I think that's totally true. If there is bias, which there always is on some level, if there is bias, the Trump administration would be a lot less stringent on a company like Skydance than they would on a company like, say, Comcast, which owns MSNBC, or at least for now. I think that this is something that regulatory has to enter into it, since you have so many cable channels under WB. But at the same time, if it's just the studios division, the regulatory might not enter into it in the same way, because it's just streaming services and movies. If it's the one division, if it's everything together, then I think the FCC has to be involved. I don't know. This is also something where Paramount just got bought out because the company was completely failing, and Warner Brothers is just starting to turn around. So it's the biggest in theatrical at the moment, or maybe most profitable is probably the better way to put that, since there are some Disney movies that whatever. I don't know if they want to consider the theatrical box office to be that entire industry, or if they're going to do an industry expansion thing and say, well, it's all media as opposed to just studios and television studios and things like that. This is going to be, the question will there be a blind eye turn to this just because Trump wants it to happen, versus will there be a blind eye to this because all of the entertainment companies are struggling at this point?
Well, there's an implicit issue here, and that is, if you're not Skydance, part of what you got to worry about is, if we buy it, is there going to be a bias against us? And it doesn't have to be real. It just has to be perceived. It just has to be a risk calculus, right?
Well, there's already a bias against the Ellisons. They know that Larry Ellison donated to Trump.
No, that's a pro bias within the federal government right now.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, I thought we were talking about the outside bias for a moment. Yeah.
No, but okay, so it's the inverse for these other companies, though, right? So, like, if Comcast wants to get it, they're worried right now. Well, we're connected with MSNBC for obvious reasons. We might have headwinds here. There might be some turbulence. Therefore, maybe we should not go after this thing, because we're going to be stuck in years of investigations and clearances and all of that.
Well, at the same time, Comcast right now is trying to spin off all of their cable channels, and they're pushing off MSNBC specifically is becoming MS Now, and blessings to them in their time of treatment for having MS Now. I think that some of this might be in preparation for something like Warner Brothers here. There's also a lot to be said for if it was NBC, Universal, and Warner. That's consolidation of a lot of brands, but it's not consolidation of a lot of channels. This might be the thing that allows the DOJ to say yes, because Versant is taking all of those cable channels and pushing them somewhere else. I think NBC proper is staying there, but Warner Brothers does not own a traditional broadcast channel. So the FCC, I don't think they would be involved.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't have to be, if they are just tangentially, because when you look at it, they don't have anything in the network space. So the communications, the FCC would not need to govern it. So I think more than anything, it's just as Pro had already mentioned, the monopolistic practices thing would be kicked into effect there. And genuinely, there's still tons of competition out there between other large studios and all the mid-grade, and we have distributors now that are outside of the studio system that are distributing films. So I don't think that would trip them up. I think that particular Skydance acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery, for what it's worth, would be perfectly fine. But I don't think Discovery's included in this. I think they're going to let Discovery go run away. And,
could be. Yep, could be.
But look, there's a ton of debt here. I mean, and this is something Vash has pointed out. $35
billion, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that's why Ellison's people are telling him to maybe slow your roll, because you're eating a ton of debt with this particular gig.
I want to go to Nat on this one. Nat, when we look at what's playing out here, one of the fascinating things is, this is a company that if it's formed together, if you have Paramount, Skydance, CBS, Warner Brothers all together, this is an entertainment company that suddenly might even be bigger than Disney in terms of content output and reach to the various, demographics out there. And now, Nat, they're opening up the books. It's very serious when you open the books and people are signing contracts to say, we won't spill the beans about what's going on with the bean counters. Nat, it's looking really close. What must Disney be feeling as they face maybe the biggest threat to them since Netflix?
I think maybe similar to when Epic opened, probably. But for Disney, I think they have to realize that what they're doing isn't working and look towards what is working, which is just starting now because of this cultural shift we're seeing in media, slowly, very slowly, but from the left towards the center at least. And I think Ellison does have quite a bit to do with that and with the acquisitions that have been happening. And also, for example, buying the UFC and making it the pay-per-view free. All of those little things have helped to move the culture in a different way. And I think Disney is just stuck, and more and more people and themselves hopefully will realize, but I don't think they'll do much about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Mo, if we look at all this that's happening with Warner Brothers and Skydance, Paramount, this combination, talk about the IPs and the cultural impact that we could see from this. I mean, there are a lot of characters, there are a lot of franchises involved, and it all would then be part of a buddy of President Trump's war chest. So that can have an impact culturally, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. And one thing that Warner Brothers has done a good job of is they've kept all their IPs in good standing. Maybe not great standing, but much better standing than Disney has. And I think that's where the value added is here, obviously. And I think that's why they're willing to take on almost as much debt as the bid is worth. And I think that's what that price is, why they're sticking at $25 per share, because they know if they pay any more than that, that's too much as far as to cancel out the debt. But I think that's a good value added. And I think the IP, like you have, I wish somebody would do something with Looney Tunes, but you got Batman, Superman, DC. You have all these other beloved IPs that
Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry Potter have not been drugged down in the dirt so bad as like Star Wars, as so bad as just everything. Like there's still a lot of time to save these IPs, where the ones with Disney, I don't know, man, they almost ruin all of those IPs. So
can we talk about, I think, the craziest part of this? Vash, you're going to love the question I've got for you at hand.
Please.
There's a scenario here. It's perhaps it's remote. There's a scenario. Jonas knows where I'm going to go with this. There's a scenario where Lasseter, who was basically in charge of all the success of Disney's creative output for the last 20 years before they sent him packing, said, "Get out of here, Toy Story man," that John Lasseter could be brought to be in charge of all these IPs and have his encore career with whatever we want to call Skydance, Paramount, CBS, Warner Brothers.
And wouldn't that, jumpstart the animation business from Warner Brothers? I mean, I think they shut down Cartoon Network Studio or something like that in the most recent era right there. It would be a great excuse to say, hey, we have still control of a lot of those assets. We have the Looney Tunes. We have all these different things. Put it under the helm of John Lasseter, who has, spun no franchises into gold practically, right? So if you give him some stuff that's already established, already has a built-in audience, what can he actually do with it? That would be a great opportunity in order to, reactivate animation within that organization, whatever form it takes. But there's two things that I want to go ahead and bring out here for the panel, because I think this is really interesting. On the most recent bid from Paramount Skydance, not only did they offer 80% cash and 20% stock, but they also offered David Zaslav a co-CEO position on whatever entity actually formed from all of this. That is really interesting, because I would think that that's kind of on the table for anybody who might be bidding on this. I mean, if it was offered by one, why wouldn't another person be open to that idea? The other thing, too, is that apparently, according to Bloomberg, internally, David Zaslav has told employees that both Apple and Amazon are interested in purchasing this whole thing. And that's a whole nother kind of aspect of this that I don't think has been covered so far.
So then we're saying Tim Cook and Jeff Bezos might want to play.
They had the pockets to do it, I would think, and maybe for more than Ellison might be willing to go for it. Not to say that they would be at a higher price point, but they do have the pockets for it.
Well, here's the thing about that. If Bezos wants in, the worry that he has to have is, how did Rings of Power go? Does he really want to go that far in his pockets, to try to do another Hollywood thing? I just don't know that he wants to be.
He paid billions for James Bond.
Yeah. Well, that's true. There's another thing too, Vash, and that is people out there want to know, will James Gunn's contract be grandfathered in? Because some people love him, some people hate him, but
Right.
will he just automatically get to keep doing DC stuff? Whoever buys this, are they stuck with James Gunn, or can they change course? And I don't know the answer to that because I don't know the intricacies of the contract.
Yeah, I think Tom has said before from Minute's Edge, that is, has said that he comes as part of the package right there, and that you might have to buy him out if you feel that DC hasn't been properly utilized by James Gunn, and that's the thing too. Like, you got the DC property, which is great, and we all know the financial capital that could afford any company buying into this. But then it's like, but it's James Gunn's DC. And it's like, do we have another Snyderverse situation? Do we want to buy into that headache in order to activate that brand and so forth? Do we run its course? With that debt structure that Warner Brothers has, all this stuff from any potential buyer has to be taken into account. And I think I think culture said it best. I think the offer that Skydance Paramount provided for David Zaslav, for Warner Brothers, might be the best he's going to get.
Well, there's one thing about it, folks. It's all on the table now, and we're going to be covering this because Warner Brothers is no longer just, in theory, up for sale as any company is. It's no longer just being pursued. It's up for auction, and the potential buyers now are looking at the books, seeing what's been cooked up over there at Warner Brothers, not in a bad way, but to say, can they pay for it? Will they? It's about to heat up, and the heat, maybe not on Zaslav, but on Disney. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe. Click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.